welcome. Okay, there you go.
Okay. Good evening, my Lansing family. It's been a while since I've seen everyone.
Yeah.
Tonight, I hope you have your pens and paper ready because I'm going to talk about a lot of stuff. We don't have a lot of time to stay on any one particular subject. And this may be the only opportunity I get with some of you to share some of my information. So I'm going to try to pack it in and save your questions to the end. I'd be happy to spend time answering all of your questions. So it's gonna start off like this. Oh, I guess I should introduce myself.
Yeah.
I go by the name Hadassah now, more so than Esther. When I found out that Hadassah and Esther is the same name, but the Hebrew name Hadassah carries a higher vibration. So that's why I wanted to change. And then I also found out that that story in the Bible about Queen Esther, her name was really Hadassah, and they changed it to Esther so they would not know she was a Jew. So that's the story behind my name. Now, I am the owner of Divine Health Retreat Center in Southfield, Michigan, and I like to call it a nature's reserve for people. We have a nature's reserve for a lot of things, a lot of animals, fish, but for people, I've never heard that before. And that's what people do. When they come here, they are preserving themselves. I help people regain, maintain, or improve their health. That's what it's all about. And we can only do that by detoxing, right? So everything in this world, in order for it to be clean, has to be washed. And I always say, what's not being washed on a regular basis? And that's the insides of our bodies. Actually, it's the most important element to be washed. So that's what we do here. We always start every retreat off with a detox, which really what we're talking about is pre-digested foods, smoothies, juices, and after a certain number of days, maybe raw foods. So that's what we do here. People come here. I can sleep up to 6 people. So we do residential retreats as well as day retreats. So those people that are local could just come from 9 to 5 or 8 to 4. So, and they learn about how to cleanse and take care of the body. And that's some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight. What is it that we can do to make a huge impact on our bodies? So now I'd like to start off with the question. And don't put your phones on mute unless there's some background noise, because sometimes interaction is great. So I like to say, did you know? You said, well, did you know what? Did you know that they feed cattle Skittles?
No.
Did anybody know that?
No.
No
I
way.
couldn't believe it. When I heard it, if you Google it, they will tell you that they feed cattle Skittles. So now if we know about Skittles, what is it that we don't know about? You just can't trust it, okay? So Skittles, please. So now, I just wanted to say that as a warm up. We're going to have some news tonight. I hope it's good news. I hope it's refreshing news. I hope it's something that touches your soul, and it sticks with you, okay? So now, did you know about this green drink? This green drink that you can make with a blender that will be the equivalent, and I'd like to say replace 40 salads. A drink that could replace 40 salads.
Yeah.
You say, no way, how can that be? Well, I'm going to tell you. It's made with a blender. It'll only cost you about $5 a week, okay? It will only take you about 2 minutes to make. And it's very similar to a blood transfusion. Now, if you could give yourself a blood transfusion every morning for 1 week for $5 and 15 minutes of your time, would you do it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you some more things about this drink. It's going to be leafy greens, and the recipe is, you might want to write it down, is 1 handful of leafy greens, and 2 cups of steamed distilled water. That's the recipe. Okay, people say, well, what kind of greens? Anything that's leafy, okay? Arugula, mixed greens, spinach, whatever is leafy. And every time I say this in a live class, somebody will ask me, well, can I put celery in it? And I say, is celery leafy? And so then they start laughing. But so a leafy green, we get that out of the way. 1 handful, your handful is your original measuring cup. 1 handful of leafy greens and 2 cups of distilled water is the recipe for 1 person. Now, the only other thing I would suggest you add to it might be a half a lemon. That's it. Not carrots, not anything else. That's why we call it a green drink, okay? So it's like a blood transfusion. You say, why do I say that? Because our blood and plant blood is only, the difference is only 1 molecule. Our blood has iron, which a spark of iron, which makes it red, and plant blood has magnesium. And therefore we have a green and we have a red blood-like substance, blood substance. Okay. So now, so it's like a blood transfusion. You don't have to worry about getting an infection from somebody else's blood. Also now, what does this amazing drink do? First of all, it's an oxygenator. And you know, we can all use more oxygen, okay, in our bodies. It's a poison antidote. And it's a gentle flush to rid the body of poisons. It's a natural source of vitamin A, and it's without the fear of a buildup. I got to take something off of my screen. It wants me to hit the continue button, so I'm going to do that. Okay, now. So, like I said, it's a natural source of vitamin A. It's valuable in correcting eye and skin issues. It's a high quality of potassium. And I don't even need to say anything else, but you know what? It stabilizes the blood, and it also helps strengthen our muscles, increase energy, and helps our system to function properly. This is an amazing drink. It's a drink that levels the playing ground. It's not a lot of hard work. You don't have to come home and wash vegetables for a whole hour. Just get a 1 pack of organic spinach, mixed greens, or greens of your choice, and do it every day. Now, this drink is only good for 24 hours. I mean, I'm sure there's still some value in it, but we want to get the most for our time and our money, and we want to be good to our body. So why keep something around longer than when it's at its best? Okay. So now, the next thing I want to talk about, see, this drink it's like a no-brainer, guys. And I want to tell you, it's really delicious. I mean, it looks real green. It's the type of green that cannot be duplicated. Man can't duplicate this color of green. But it is a refreshing drink when you put like a half a lemon in it. So refreshing. Keep it in the fridge, sip on it all day long. It'll love you back. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is things that we don't always talk about all the time, and that's our cells in our bodies. We have 75 trillion, that's with a T, 75 trillion cells. So I want to tell you a little bit about the cell makeup. Now, the cells, they communicate. Now we got 75 trillion cells, and they have a communication system going on, okay? And that's what I like about plant food, is that plant cells and our cells have the ability to communicate. When we eat plant foods, those cells know exactly what to do. Doesn't treat it as something foreign. So now, there's cell communication. What is that? There's neurological channels, how the cells communicate. There's chemicals like interferon, as well as insulin. They tell the other parts what to do. So there's a lot of chemical communication going on. And you know what else is strange about them? They understand English. Wherever you're from, they understand the language there. And I can prove it to you. Because anytime a person gets a serious diagnosis from the doctor. And sometimes it causes that person to panic. Sometimes it causes that person to go into depression. Sometimes that simple diagnosis causes that person to become very fearful. And guess what? And everybody knows you cannot heal in fear. You got to have faith, okay? And so when these cells hear this, people get a diagnosis of cancer. It's like a punch in the gut. And so it's a shock to the system. And those chemicals that are coming from you because of this shock is also sending communication signals to our cells. And if we believe that and we accept that diagnosis, our cells is like, wow, doctor says, go home, tell your family, get your affairs in order, do all of this stuff. And the cells are like, wow, we're going to be out of a job in 6 months. You got 6 months to live. And guess what? Everybody that accepts that, receives that, and accepts that are usually gone in 6 months. So we got to be careful. And that's another situation. I'd like to come back on at another time and talk about our thoughts and our words. Okay. But right now, I'm going to do my best to stick to the subject. And sometimes that gets hard. But this cell communication is going on. So we have to be careful what we allow into our ear gate because it is affecting our bodies. Our thoughts affect our bodies. Our thoughts affect everything. As a matter of fact, every bite of food that you take creates a thought. So it's so important what we're taking bites of. Now, the cell also has a cell environment. Now, our environment, people environment, is air. But the cells, they live inside of our cardiovascular system. Okay, so now the lymph fluids surround all of the cells, and they depend on circulation of the lymph fluid. That circulation is very important because, like all of us know, that our lymph system does not have a heart like blood. So the only time our lymph system moves is when we move. And we need to be moving so we can move our lymph system. We have 3 times more lymph fluid than we have blood. 3 times more than blood. But see, we don't usually think like that. So it's very important. This lymph fluid is very important. If you get a burn or you get a injury of some kind, so like you get a burn on your finger and then it gets covered over as it's trying to heal, and that fluid that's in there, that clear like fluid, is called lymph. That's what our lymph fluid looks like. And it depends on circulation to move throughout our bodies, our capillaries throughout. So we gotta realize that that's very important. And we lose water. It's like we look at our bodies like an aquarium because we can control it. Aquarium where we can't control an ocean. So we look at it like an aquarium. So all we have to do to help the lymph system is replace the water that leaks out, okay, of our aquarium. How does it leak out? It leaks out through urine. It leaks out through sweat, leaks out through breathing. And people that talk a lot, they really need to drink more water because they're losing a lot of moisture, okay? We lose it through tears. We lose it all kinds of ways. But the 3 main ways is the urine and the sweat and the breathing, okay? So we have to know the importance of drinking enough water. The other thing is when we drink water, our brain has to take it first because it's commanding everything else. So the brain's got to get the water. And then whatever's left over, it's just like anything else. If it doesn't get enough water, if you have a plant and it doesn't get enough water, what happens to it? It begins to dry up.
It dies. Yeah.
It will eventually die. So we're no different. We need water. And 5 years from now, if you're sitting somewhere and you're ill and you found out that all you had to do was drink half of your body weight in some good water. That's all you had to do. We have simple things that we can do. That's what I major in on, the simple things that everybody can do right now to make a big change in their lives. So now let's keep going. Now there's cell food. So many of us have been feeding ourselves people food. If you had a dog, you wouldn't feed your dog cat food. You know, you would not feed your bird dog food, but sometimes we feed ourselves people food. So what is the cell food? I know you're just dying to figure out. No, you're living to find it out, okay? And that is, okay, you ready for it? Our cells need 57 nutrients. It doesn't matter what color you are, how old you are, where you were born. Everybody needs the same thing, 57 nutrients. Where are we going to get them from? Okay, they are coming in the form of vitamins and minerals. And you know the word vitamin, that means it's vital that we have it. Now, yes, you can get a whole lot of that out of food, depending on the land, the soil, and all of that kind of stuff. But nowadays, we need a little help. Like I said, I will give you my telephone number. I will let you know how you can get in touch with me if you'd like some recommendations, or if you want to find out some good nutrients, vitamins, and minerals that you can take. So that's cell food, okay? Now, the last one, like I say, all of these things are things that all of us could do right now, starting tomorrow. And the next one is cell exercise. Now, we've been taught that there's only two kinds of exercise. One is aerobics, and the other one is strengthening, okay? Going to the gym, lifting the barbells, that's the strengthening, or jogging or running and stuff. But they found out that every exercise is about opposing gravity, every last one, okay? Even with let's just take, for instance, the barbells. Like I was saying, you're lifting up and you're pulling down, you're opposing gravity. Swimming, you're getting enough movement going to push, to have something to push against, okay? You're jumping up and down and you're coming back down. Gravity is bringing us back down. But the one exercise that is the best exercise so far that we've learned about is rebounding. That little mini trampoline that everybody can have. And they have them now where the legs fold up. You can just slide it under your bed. But there, if you want to, reason why I say it's the best, because you're going to get the best out of it. If you want to do aerobics, then you jump on it. If you want strengthening, you jump higher. That force coming back down, the higher up you go, the faster you come down. That's if you want to strengthen. But if you just want the health bounce, to get your lymph fluids moving, all you have to do is bounce on the mat. Your feet do not have to leave the mat. Just a gentle bounce will get that lymph system moving, and you'll be feeling better, and you'll start having more energy, and you just help it. It's like helping a good friend. Your body wants to be your friend. Your body wants to be your friend. We have to start treating our body like we do a good friend. It wants to befriend you. It wants to heal. It wants to get in homeostasis. It wants to be balanced. It wants all of these things, but it's dependent on us. Like our cells with the cell food, they depend on us to do the grocery shopping because they can't. People like to pray and say, ask God to bless the food. Okay. And how come they didn't pray when it was at the grocery store? They asked God to help them make good choices. But no, we want to go and cook it our way and do our own thing and ask God to bless our mess. And you know, we can't have faith for that. I mean, we might say it, but we don't believe it. So you cannot fool yourself. You cannot fool yourself. And everything works by faith. And you can only have faith for something if you believe in it. If you don't believe in it, there's no faith attached to it. So we can't fool ourselves. So we need to pray in advance. And this same thing we say, death starts in the colon. That's another thing we say. That's not true either. You can say, well, it starts at the grocery store. That's where it starts. That's where you brought it home. So we have to look at those things we're saying, and they're saying things that are not, we're telling ourselves things that are not true. It does not start in the colon. It starts way before then. The colon just has to deal with what we put in it. And it can only do what it can do. It cannot work a miracle. That's not their job. Okay, no miracle working in the colon. So the cell exercise, and we don't have to do a lot of it. See, this is truly, truly leveling out the playing field. If we just do a few things consistently, help ourselves, be our own friend, okay? So now, so if you got any questions, write them down, because I'm just keep moving on, okay? We're gonna move on to something else, and who knows what else will come up, because that's what happens a lot of times, okay? So now I want you to think about, just for a moment here, who do you love? I'm gonna ask you a question. Who do you love? Somebody tell me, who do you love? Everybody say one person or one thing. Don't make me have to call your name, because I can see your names on the screen.
I love my husband.
Okay, good. Is he listening?
No, he's in the other room.
Okay, all right. Who do you love, Brenda?
I love Jesus.
All right, Hiawatha, who do you love? Uh-oh, hope that new phone. How about you, Janice? Who do you love?
I love my son. I love
I'm
my
sorry.
son.
You love what?
I love my son. My
Okay.
son.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. And I'm sure we love a lot of other things, but I just wanted you to mention one. But whenever I ask this question, guess what nobody says? They never say they love themselves.
Themselves.
And I like to
Love
give a
myself.
demonstration, because we think we love ourselves. I like to give an example. If you had a really good friend that was going for a colonoscopy, and they had to be there at 6 o'clock, which meant, and wanted you to take them, which meant you had to get up at 4:30. Okay, you would do that for that friend. But you know what you wouldn't do? You wouldn't get up at 4:30 in the morning to exercise yourself. You guys know I am not lying. I mean, sad as it would be, somebody going for dialysis 3 times a week, and they ask you to do it because there was no one else to do it, you would make that sacrifice. And that's what love is about. It's about sacrifice. But when we come to ourselves, we don't want to sacrifice. No, we just want it. But see, sacrifice is involved with love. And I used to didn't understand with that when I was much younger. I would say, what? You know, when you think about love, you just think about good things, good feelings, you know. But sacrifice, yes, yes. But you know what? The beautiful thing about the body, when you make sacrifices for yourself, it's not a sacrifice forever. Just like your friend wouldn't need them to take them someplace forever. You just need to do it long enough to break that habitual, unconscious habit of not doing. There's a habit of not doing, and there's a habit of doing. The not doing cousin is procrastination. Okay. But really, it's a sacrifice. And if we really love ourselves, we'll make that sacrifice for ourselves. And so I just want you to think about how you would treat a good friend and become your own best friend. Become your own lover. Take those salt baths. Get to bed early. Drink enough water. That's all a part of loving yourself. Being forgiving others. That's all a part of loving you, because you're the one that's going to benefit from letting that, you know what, go. Just let it go. It's not even important. Okay, so I asked you, who do you love? Now I ask you about habits. Does anybody have any habits they'd like to change? Me too. But how do a habit make? No, how do a habit break? Anybody know? How do you break a habit? How do a habit break? I tell you, a habit break the same way the habit was made. The same way you make it is the same way you break it. And you made it because you did it. It was a repetition. So when you have a repetition of not doing, that's another, you're breaking that habit. So how do a habit break? The same way a habit make. It's simple, folks. It's simple. We just got to do the work. We do the work, we get the reward. And the reward is so much more precious than the work that it took. So we're worth it. We're worth it. So now, when we're talking about health still, right? What are some of the things that can affect our health besides feeding ourselves people food, things like that? But I can tell you this, what can help you is depending on the people that you're around. That's why it's so important to be around like-minded people. Okay. Now, my professor, my teacher, he used to always tell us about these three types of people. And one is the hitchhiker. You got the hitchhiker, you got the freeloader, and you got the foot dragger. And these things affect your health because 85% of dis-ease in the body is emotionally based. Now, I'm going to show you how these people drain on your emotions. You take the hitchhiker. You're at work. Can you drop me off at home? They don't care. They just want to go at no expense to themselves. Can you drop me off at home? And you being the good person that you are, you say, sure, I'll drop you off at home. Soon as they sit their behinds down in your seat, they want to know, can you stop at the liquor store? Or can you stop here? Or can you stop there and let them get this and let them get that? And they're in the car now. So what you gonna do? What you gonna say? Okay, so you take them to wherever it is. They didn't tell you in advance they need to stop by daycare. They didn't tell you any of this stuff in advance. They just said, could you take them home? Okay, so when you finally get them out of the car, it's like, whew, they're draining people. What I call getting on your nerves. Now, now let's talk about the next person that can affect your health, okay? And that is the freeloader. The freeloader just want to use everybody else's money. They'll come to you. We're still using these work scenarios. I know a lot of us like me are not working, still in the corporate world, but they come to you and they say, I forgot my lunch money. Could you buy lunch today and I'll buy lunch tomorrow? You say, well, sure. Like I say, the good person that you are, trusting. Next day, you didn't bring your lunch because, you're expecting to get repaid and that person is nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. So now here you are left hanging, holding the bag. So that's the freeloader. But the next one I'm going to talk about, to me, is the worst of all three, and that's the foot dragger. And the example that I like to give, because I live in South of Michigan, and it's probably about an hour and 20 minutes, hour 20 minutes to Lansing. And there's Hiawatha is having a special event, and it's $30 per person. And so I talked to my friend and I said, you want to go? And they say, yeah. I said, okay, well, how do you want to do this? She said, well, go ahead and pay him. I'll give you the money later. So I know this person, right? Or I think I do. And so I send the $60 in, and the night before, she doesn't call me. I call her. I have to call her to see, well, how are we going to do this? Who's driving? You going to drive? I'm going to drive? What? And now she comes up with some, my auntie is in the hospital. I'm not going to be able to make it. Okay. So now that's the foot dragger. That's the person that makes you think they want the same things you want. They don't. So they foot dragging you. So now you have a decision to make. Am I going to drive to Lansing by myself, or am I going to lose this $60? Because you already know you're probably not going to get that $30 from that person who did not go. So those are the three people that can affect your health. So it's bad enough that when we walk out of our houses, we got the air pollution, we got all the stuff in the processed foods. Oh, don't forget the toxic thoughts. I mean, just all kinds of stuff bombarding. What's that word, cricket?
Bombarding.
Bombarding.
Bombard.
Thank you. Bombarding us all of this other stuff too, and it can be overwhelming. You cannot be around these people often because they will make you sick. So we hate to think about that. Sometimes they're relatives, but if they're not going your way, they're in your way. Okay, remember that. If they're not going your way, you're in your way, because every time you went their way, you already know what happened. You ate things you didn't want to eat. It just didn't go. I don't know why it's so easier to go downhill. Yeah, I do. I just heard myself talking. It is harder to go uphill than downhill. So it's easy to fall down, but you get back up. We just don't keep doing it. Okay. So now we talked about those people you got to watch out for. Now that I mentioned them, you're going to see them. You're going to see them. They're around. Anyway, so I want you to think about, we think about feeding our flesh, but let's think about feeding our minds. And you guys here tonight, I commend you, because tonight you're feeding your minds. And you know what, when you get that mind food, it's so much more fulfilling. And when you really tune into it, it's real tasty too. And it just feels good. It just makes you feel good all over, because you know it resonates with your soul. It does. So let's keep in mind doing those things that make us feel good and not doing those things that don't make us feel good. And we're all old enough on this call to speak our truth. It's time that we tell the truth to our people about how we really feel. Somebody say, do you like this? Say, you know what? It might not be the most flattering thing. We can find something nice to say, but we don't have to lie. We don't have to try to make people think certain things. Just speak your truth in love. That's another thing that'll help you be healthy. Not holding stuff in, not wishing you said this and wishing you said that, or wishing you didn't say this or wishing you didn't say that. So I say, what has helped me is write a letter to yourself and tell yourself how much you love you, and tell yourself the things you're gonna do in the future to show your love, to court yourself, okay, to just think of new things you can do that you can have pleasure with, and just start living life, because life is to be lived, and you live it better when you're healthy and you're loving and forgiving. It's just so much better. So get a plan of action, write that letter and write those health goals down. It's never too late. And the most important thing I want to say tonight is get a journal just for things that you want to write down, things that you're grateful for, a gratitude journal. And I'm going to tell you that this, and leave you with Luke 17. Everybody probably remembers this story about the 10 lepers. They heard Jesus was in town. They started yelling out, heal us, heal us. And they knew they could not go back into the city until they showed themselves to the priest that they were healed of leprosy. Okay, so they were saying, heal us, heal us. So Jesus said, go show yourself to the priest. And this is also the same chapter that the Lord gave me when I opened up Divine Health Retreat Center, because I was saying, I ain't ready. I ain't ready. I am not ready to start doing retreats. I don't know enough. Hiawatha did my very first retreat with me. I think it was in 2007. So what was said to me was, go. Like he told those lepers, go show yourself to the priest. Okay. It was like, go, as you do these retreats, I'll show you what to do. Okay, that was my word. As you go, we got to be doing something. We got to put that faith in action. We'll never think we're ready, but as you go, you will be equipped. So that's one of the things about the lepers. But what I want to finish telling you, because of this gratitude journal I want you to keep, is there were 10 lepers. He told them, go show yourself to the priest. Now they had to be healed to do that. So they walked. It's when they walked in faith, but only one came back. And Jesus said, weren't there 10? Only one came back and gave thanks. And that one was made whole. Those other 9, they got healed of leprosy. But that one that came back and showed gratitude was made whole. Everything about that person was in balance. And that's what gratitude will do for us. And thank you. You've been a wonderful audience. You participated, and the floor is open now for any questions that you may have.
Okay, what else beside rebounding can I do? Because I have a problem with my ankle. I had surgery a long time ago and my ankle hurts a lot. So for me to be jumping on that would really be bothering my ankle even more. It's swollen. It's swollen a lot.
Okay, and Janice, I want to say this. One of the things, when I do my retreats, first thing I do is put people on a verbal diet, okay? And usually I don't have to watch them because everybody else is watching what everybody is saying. We want to make sure nothing negative comes out of our mouth. We want to make sure all of our conversation is not in the past. All of our conversation is not in the future. We want to stay in the present. So what I'm saying is, what I'm hearing you say is based on your past experiences, your ankles did this or did that, right? And,
Yes.
but what I'm saying about this health bounce, your feet do not leave the mat. It's just a gentle bounce, just gentle bounce. And because you're on the trampoline, it is cushioned. You know, it's not like hitting the pavement. So that is one of the best things you could do. Just a gentle bounce. Just do 30 seconds, 30 bounces. And then throughout the day, do it 4, 5, 6 times, but just a little bit at a time. And gradually you'll see our bodies are so responsive. When we start doing things to it that shows that we love them, the body starts responding. So I understand. So starting off, you might just want to do 10 seconds, but believe me, you keep that up, you'll be doing, I had 3 ladies here last week for a 3-day retreat, 89, 87, and 84.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, one of them, she does 200 counts, 200 bounces at a time. And I think she was the one that was 88.
Wow.
So I'm just saying, in time, you will see what you'll be doing is building yourself up. So the way the world works is we stop doing things that makes us uncomfortable. But the
Okay.
real way is to strengthen it by using it.
Okay.
And so you
Thank
might get a little discomfort in the beginning, but have faith it's going to get better. Don't overdo it. Just do, if you can't do but 10 seconds, do that. When my husband had his heart attack in 2010, we used to put him on the trampoline, me and the guy that was helping us, and we would jump him. We would straddle him and we would bounce for him. So any kind of bounce helps your lymphatic system, even if
Okay.
you're not doing it yourself.
All right.
It's
And
amazing.
After you do it like Hadassah suggested, where you just bounce for 10 seconds on your feet, if
Mhm.
that is really, really painful, you can just sit on it
And bounce.
and bounce.
That's right.
Don't even have to be on your feet.
That's what we
Just
did with
sit
my
on it.
husband.
Okay.
That's what we did with Clyde. We would sit him on it and then we would bounce him.
Thank you. Okay, great.
But you said, what else can you do besides that? So now you know you can do that. But the other things you can do is the other things we talked about, making sure that you replace the water that leaks out of your aquarium through
Okay.
urine, sweat, and breathing. Also, make sure you're giving your cells cell food, not just people food. Okay, so, and this is all going to help your cells communicate with each other. So you'll be doing a
Okay.
great thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone, you're welcome. Any other questions? I would like to give out my number if you'd like to, some suggestions or just get no charge for advice. And my telephone number is 248-945-0267. And I invite you guys to come down for a 3-day detox sometimes. Grab all your friends, and like I say, we can, right now with what's going on, the most I do is 3 at a time. A lot of times it's just 2, but those 3 ladies came because they're all friends, been friends for 40 years. They came together. And anybody that wants information about what goes on there it's mostly, and I say it like this, I reintroduce people to themselves because we're all so busy. We're all so busy doing nothing. Okay. We're all so busy. We don't take time out to really, and I mean, some do, but most of the people are not taking time out to spend time being silent, the power of silence. Spend time hearing from spirit. Just spend time finding, and we quiet people down enough so you can start paying attention to your body. Our bodies are talking to us all the time, but because we haven't befriended it, because we're not friends with our bodies, this is proof. We don't listen to it, or we poo-poo it, as one of the ladies that was here last week said. I used to poo-poo stuff. We account, we say, oh, that's just getting older. This is to be expected. No, don't accept those things. Every time I get a new ache or a new pain, I'm 72 years old, okay? And new aches and pains try to get me, but you know what? I lay my hand on it and I speak to it because words are powerful. I say, body, receive your healing, be healed. Now, sometimes I have to say it 2 or 3 times, but most of the time, ladies, I only have to say it once. And a good example is one of the ladies that was here last week. She's the one that's 89. She was having problems with her hip. She had her hip replacement. So I did a therapy on her where I was rubbing oils on her, and she was on the biomat, and the biomat heats you up from the inside, and then she laid on it and fell asleep. So the next day when I thought about it, I said, oh, did that therapy help and the biomat help? And she said, yes, it did. And the next thing out of her mouth was, oh, it just started hurting. See, you see what I'm saying? It was like that thought took over her body. That pain came back. We can't allow that. That does not have to happen. It's been a habitual habit of us allowing things to happen that didn't have the right or the authority to exist according to the Bible. So don't accept pain. Tell it no. Body, don't even speak to the pain. See, that's how people get messed up. They'll say, oh, I'm not in pain. I'm not in pain. And they're in pain. So, and then that's like bipolar, okay? So what you have to say is don't even ignore the pain. Don't even talk to the pain. Talk to the healing part. Body, be healed. Come into line with the word of God, okay? Talk to what you want. We've been so accustomed to saying what we don't want. We got to say what we want. We want healing. We don't want pain. Speak to what you want. Like I said, that's another session, y'all. But y'all, I sprinkled it in. Any other questions? This has been so much fun.
Thank you.
Yes, thank
Oh,
you
yeah,
very
you're
much.
welcome. All
Thank you
right.
so much, Hadassah.
Okay,
Have a
maybe you
great
guys are,
evening.
thank you. Maybe you guys will have me back sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we just love it.
Hey,
Great
Cricket,
meeting.
good to see you.
You too. You too. Take care, you guys. Thanks, everyone, for joining tonight.
Thank
Yes,
you.
and it's a
wonderful.
recorded. So will you send out the information to listen to the recording?
Yes. Yes.
Am I on your list? I know Phil has it.
I don't know. Give me your email and I'll make sure.
Okay, it's Hooked on Health.
Wait. Let me.
Oh, you want to take